welcome back everyone. So for this first week of George V, we're going to look at Australia and New Zealand. Now I've chosen to separate those two areas because they use designs and stamps that are specific and different from the other material produced in the Commonwealth. One of the things in Australia's case is that most of the stamps are locally printed in Australia, so there are specific characteristics to paper and ink that are different from De La Rue and Waterloo and Bradbury Wilkinson from England, and it's useful to study those individually. And the same for New Zealand. Most of New Zealand's material is also locally printed, although De La Rue and Perkins Bacon did produce some of the stamps. But again, the dependencies of Australia and New Zealand utilized the same printers for much of the Australia and New Zealand issues did, and they had their own designs. So Papua New Guinea, Nauru, Norfolk Island, well, for George VI, Cook Islands, Penrhyn, Niue, those utilize either their own designs or Australia or New Zealand stamps with overprints. And so, again, it's useful to study those and offer them together with the corresponding Australia and New Zealand issues. Both countries, their periods are defined for George V by one or two major definitive sets that ran through the entire reign. And around them are various commemorative sets that are issued at different points in time as well. So for Australia, the main issues are the kangaroo and map design, which was Blaemire Young's creation. Very, very popular with collectors now, although at the time they came out in Australia in 1913, they were horrendously unpopular. And it just goes to show you that, people's tastes and what people thought of different stamps. A lot of the most popular stamps today were not when they were first issued. And that's not just true of Australia, but it's true of many areas. And in concurrent with that issue were the George V heads, which were produced as well all the way up to the end of George V's reign. At first, all the values in use were kangaroo and map designs, but gradually Australia began to replace those designs with various George V heads, at least up to a shilling and fourpence. And so by the end of the reign, the only values with the kangaroo and map design typically were, with the exception of the 9-penny and the 6-penny, all high values higher than a shilling four. There are several watermarks in use during that period for Australia that split the two sets into different classifications, and it gets very, very complicated, and a collector could spend an entire lifetime on either one or both of those issues. So what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is what I would call a semi-deep dive into those issues. I have a few better values, but the majority of the stamps I have are less expensive, but nonetheless essential if you're going to start a specialization. A lot of the material I have from this will be useful to you in establishing your baselines in terms of paper types, watermarks, plate varieties, shades, and things that you can then build off of as you seek out the better stamps. New Zealand, their major issues are the George V side faces that were engraved and typographed, the engraved stamps being produced by Perkins Bacon in London, and the typographed stamps by De La Rue. Those ran all the way up to 1935, when the pictorial issue, engraved pictorial issue, which I believe was printed in New Zealand, replaces it, and straddles the George VI and Edward VIII periods, and later goes on to be the main George VI set until 1947. Now, in addition to that, New Zealand had a large range of postal fiscals with the arms of New Zealand, and those first appear in the early 30s, and they're used all the way up until till the 60s. And there's a number of different watermarks and papers. So those designs are in use throughout George V, George VI, and early Elizabeth. And also a number of those postal fiscals are overprinted and become the high values for the dependencies that I named earlier in the video. And again, they form a fairly good specialization as well. All of the issues, including the pictorial issue, all form the basis for specializations. I don't know if I'd say the pictorial is a lifetime specialization, although it is pretty all-encompassing if you also include the George VI version on the multiple watermark paper. Yeah, that's essentially those two areas in a nutshell. So that's what we're going to be looking at for this first week, and hope you can learn something from it. It's there's a lot of knowledge to be gained, and I think you'll find that it's really interesting as you go through it. So anyways, thanks for watching. Happy bidding.